Hey everyone, it's Lindsay and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought we would do a chill little sit down video where I just go over all of my goals that I made back in January because it is mid-year. So I had 10 goals in 3 different categories: writing, reading, and lifestyle. And I thought I'd just go over with you, where I'm at, we'll check in, and you guys can let me know down in the comments how you're doing on your goals, if you've changed them at all, if you've needed to adjust. Since I'm doing the 75 challenge, I've just learned that actually forming the habits is so much more important than like winning, like marking off the goals. So if you need to reach building that habit in a different way than what your original goal said, I think it's really important to adjust. Let's go ahead and just dive straight into writing. I had 3 writing goals. The first one was that I wanted to make, a little, well, first of all, actually, this goal was secret. I didn't even tell you guys I had this one, but I wanted to make some kind of like membership space, some kind of community space where we all could get together and chat. And I did that. I started my Patreon. Links down below if you want to join. It's amazing. So that one checked off the list. Number 2, I wanted to get Project Pyro submission ready. This is my YA thriller mystery about a girl from the wrong side of the tracks who gets invited to this fancy boarding school, and then people start disappearing there and she thinks it might have something to do with her past. My goal was to get it submission ready, which means that it is through my alpha readers, through my beta readers. I've done as much work on it as I can. My agent has read it, we've done revisions together, and then submission ready would mean that all of that is complete, and then submission would be her trying to sell it to publishing houses. I haven't achieved this goal yet, but I am so close, you guys. In fact, a little bit of a spoiler. I just finished the 3rd draft yesterday, and I've already started the 4th draft today. I think this final draft is going to be really short because I'm just putting in some things I've kind of noticed that I wanted to beef up, to bulk up, and I think it's only going to take me maybe like a week and a half to do this last little run through revision streak before I send it off to some people for reading. So excited. I think unless something happens, we will definitely be achieving this goal by the end of summer. And then my last writing goal was that I wanted to have another draft, a first draft of some other project done. It didn't matter which one, I just wanted to have another completed book. Since Project Pyro is the priority, the closer I get to finishing Project Pyro, the closer I get to being able to draft another book. So I'm gonna say we're on track. And before I started this project, I actually was 20,000 words into my first draft of Grandmother's Guide to High Stakes Adventuring, my cozy adult fantasy. And I mean, most of that is my like outline, 0 draft, whatever you want to call it, but it's fine. We're 20K words in, that's exciting. And that might be the draft that I finish by the end of the year, who knows? Moving on into life goals, I only had 2. My first one was simply like, the only weight that I'm allowed to gain this year is like weight through muscle growth. I just didn't want to gain fat, basically. And I'm doing really well with this one too. In fact, I'm like down like 6.6 pounds since the beginning of the year, like not necessarily on purpose, just like with how my bodybuilding is going, like with all my weightlifting and stuff, it's just kind of accidentally happening. So that's good. It gives me a little bit of a cushion in case, during the holidays I do put on a little weight, Oof, okay. Not doing so hot with this one. Complete 12 charitable tasks. I said 12 because I figured I could do one each month. That hasn't happened. I set this goal for myself originally because I just felt like charity was something that I wasn't doing as often as I could be. I was always taught that charity was one of 3 things: time, talent, or treasure. At the time, didn't have a lot of treasure going on, you know what I mean? But I did have time and I did have talent that I could use to aid the community in some way. So I made myself these goals because I just felt like I could do better. I've only achieved 2 of the 12 charitable tasks so far, and if I was on track, we would be 6 out of 12. So need to do a little better with that, obviously. I think I'll have to get back with you on that one because this is going to take some thought in how I want to do this. It also depends on like what I want to do, if I'm giving my time away to some charity or if I'm making something to give away. I don't know. We will have to see. And then quickly moving on into reading goals, I had 5. The first one was that I wanted to do a Stormlight reread because the 5th book in the first part of that series is now complete. That's a whole arc. I like to binge read books. So now that that one's out, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna reread the first 3 and then carry through to books 4 and 5. Haven't done this yet, but I think I'm going to do it in the fall. I have to do it in the fall. The next goal was to complete a genre-thon. This is like my little self-run readathon where I just pick one genre off of my TBR spreadsheet that I use, and I pick one genre and age category that's really congested, meaning like I've added a lot of books that I'm really interested in that category, but I haven't been pulling for it, and all of a sudden there's like 20 or 30 books in that category and genre that are just sitting there languishing away. I end up picking like the top 3 most congested genres and reading those down for 1 month and just doing kind of like a try a chapter tag. Like I'll grab 6 to 9 of the books that I want to read try the first few chapters. If I like them, they stay and I complete them. If they don't, they just go. And I actually did this. It was really great. I did it in March. I got 14 books total off of my TBR, either by reading them or just DNFing them, getting them out of here. It was great. I did YA fantasy, adult fantasy, and adult thriller mystery, which were my biggest genres. And now they are much more tidy looking. My next goal was to read or unhaul all physical books that I've had on my TBR over a year. I actually had quite a few this year. I had 16 total, which is bigger than normal, but I'm happy to say I've got half of them down. I've done 8. I can't sleep on this goal though, because I know myself, and last year it's the only goal I didn't achieve. So I can't be lax about it. I've really got to keep up on myself, making sure I'm at least pulling like 1 to 2, usually just 1, let's be real, just 1 physical TBR book a month off the TBR to read. Most of my reading is done with audiobooks. So if I can find the audiobook for things on my TBR, it's great. So yeah, we're gonna keep going with this. Really happy with it. And then my next goal was about my Goodreads TBR veterans. These are books that I just added on Goodreads. They've been there for 3+ years, and I'm like, okay, it's time to go. Like, I need to read you, I need to try you, and if you're not for me, let's get you off. And guys, I'm almost done with this one. I have read 9 out of the 10 books that I had left to read. These were all books that I added in 2022. I don't have any actually earlier than 2022 because I've been doing this challenge for so long though that I'm like caught up. Like 2022 are the oldest books that I've had on the list. But I have gotten through 9 out of the 10. And in fact, I've given some of them really good ratings. Like there have been a lot of DNFs, don't get me wrong, but I've gotten 2 4 stars and 1 3.75 stars, which is really awesome. It means that those were sitting there forever and they were books that I was always gonna enjoy. So that's awesome. And that's exactly why I do this challenge, because you never know, there might be a gem just sitting there forever and you wouldn't know about it until you pick it up. And then my last reading goal was that I wanted to keep up with the Buzzwordathon reading challenge. This is a yearly readathon that is hosted by Books and Lala on BookTube, and it is where you have a word challenge for each book. Like there is a word in the title that you have to fit that prompt for, and also a aspect on the cover. So they're kind of 2 different readathons, but if you can combine them, it like feels like you're getting like a gold star or something. Anyways, I really enjoy it because she makes really interesting prompts, and it just helps spice up my reading, helps me pull more stuff off my TBR and get things off the TBR that I may have put off for a long time. If they fit the prompt, I read them earlier. So I love it. I'm doing well with that. I've been able to keep up with it every month. There hasn't yet been a prompt that I don't have anything that wouldn't be able to be pulled off the TBR. Like I have something that fills every prompt, so that's good. So I'm really happy with where I'm at with my goals. Obviously not the charity one. That one needs a little bit more work. I'm gonna have to make a game plan for that. But with writing, I'm really happy. Like I've really pushed myself this year. I knew that I would have time to because I didn't have a book coming out. So I was like, oh, I have plenty of time just to like dedicate as much as I can to writing so that I can like, you know, actually sell something and keep doing this full time. That'd be great. So I really felt motivated. I really had that fire under my butt to get stuff done. And I think that by the end of this year, I'll be like really proud of myself. And I think I'll be able to achieve all of these goals. And then of course the reading goals, they're just more for fun because reading is, you know, more of a hobby for me, but I still like to challenge myself. Yeah, I think I'm doing pretty good with those too. Because I think this video is a little bit short, would you guys mind if I did like the mid-year book freakout tag? We can pretend and cosplay as a booktuber for a minute. If I can find the original tag creators video, I will link them or their channel or whatever down below so you can check it out. But it's just basically where you check in with your reading with some of these prompts. Tell people how you did. So question number 1 is the best book you read. And for me, I think that is going to be Disillusion by Nicholas Ames. I think this might be my only 5-star of the year so far, at least non-reread 5-star of the year. I loved this. This is a super trippy adult sci-fi novel that follows an elderly lady named Maggie who wakes up in a really strange place strapped to all this equipment, and there is a weird ass looking man sitting across from her and he's asking her very peculiar questions. We follow her timeline, and then at the same time we follow a schoolboy in England in the 1950s as he gets kind of like brought into this strange, not cult, but definitely insular community of really smart and intelligent people, and the discoveries that they discover being a little bit too smart for their own good. This was just a fun, wild, twisty ride, and I loved following our main character, Maggie. She's just this like absolute badass old lady who is just incredible. I don't even want to say anything else about it. It's just, I want you to follow her journey and come to love her the way that I love her. And like, I just hope by the time that I am her age, I'm like half the woman that she is. Best sequel I read this year was Bloody Rose. This is kind of a companion novel, but we'll say sequel. It's a companion novel to Kings of the Wild, which is just very D&D core. It's a bunch of old men who have to get the gang back together to go save one of the guy's daughters who has been put in like this perilous situation, and like, you know, they're all old and out of shape, but they got to get back together and save the world. Every time I pitch these books, I'm like, you have to like dad humor to like these books. It's a very particular type of writing style that isn't going to appeal to everyone, but I loved it. It worked for me. I think the humor hits. It's so well done. I think the humor is so clever. The way that like the sentence around the comedic drop is just, it's just really good. And Bloody Rose to me is actually better to me than the first book, because Bloody Rose is following the daughter that they're trying to save in the first book. It's following her and her journey and her situation. I laughed out loud, which that doesn't happen often in books. I cried. Internally and externally. The best 2025 release I've read so far, if I'm not doing like doubling up on prompts, because obviously I would say Disillusion is the best, but if I'm not doing that, I'm going to say the new Vera Wong book, Vera Wong's Guide to Snooping on a Dead Man, I believe is what it's called. The Vera Wong books are cozy fantasies. They follow this old Chinese grandma who lives, well, she's not grandma yet, but she wants to be, who lives in San Francisco, and one day in the first book she goes downstairs in her teen shop and she finds a dead body. She calls the cops and she's like, look, these cops can't do the job as well as me because I know it all. I'm gonna solve the case, and it's wonderful. The comedy is just so up my alley. Vera is so endearing yet so unself-aware that it's just like chef's kiss. The relationships are beautiful, and like the food descriptions in this book will make you so hungry. And I always say with these books too, the mystery is kind of like overshadowed by the beauty that is character work in these stories. So if you are a plot-driven reader, these probably won't work for you. But for me, who loves character, who loves boys, and these books are hella voicey, it was just a win. Number 4, biggest surprise. So that for me would be Project Hail Mary. I'm not gonna lie, when I saw this book, you know, it's kind of been on my TBR forever. I didn't want to pick it up. I was like, this is just gonna be like, forgive me, it's just gonna be a dude bro fantasy, dude bro sci-fi, and I'm just gonna be like, yeah, okay, it's good, and I move on. This was so cozy. This was so soft. This was like cashmere. It honestly feels like it could be a Pixar movie for children. If just a few things were changed around, it would be beautiful. This is another one of those books that you just don't really need to know much about. If you somehow haven't heard about it yet, it's about a man who has to go into space to try to like do some stuff. That's all you need to know. Number 5, new favorite authors. So I think my truest answer to this would be Joanna Van Veen. I read My Darling Dreadful Thing for the first time this year, and I liked it so much that I picked up her next book, which was Blood on Her Tongue. She writes historical gothic horror books set in the Netherlands and usually around the Victorian times, and I just really like what she brings to the table. She does a gothic setting really good. She does creep factor really good. Like her atmosphere and her creep factor is really great, and also like there's just this bit of like unhingedness to her books that I just read and I kind of get a little shocked by. I'm like, I had no idea where that was going, but I didn't think we would go there, so I'm on board. Number 6 is favorite character for this. This is going to be from, you know, some of my favorites already this year. It would be Maggie from Disillusion, and then if not Maggie, I would say Rocky from Project Hail Mary. If you know, you know. Most anticipated books coming out the second half of the year. I have so many, I just like literally wrote them down. Travis Baldry is coming out with a new book in his Legends and Lattes series. Excited for that. I love the cover. It's my favorite so far. The 5th book in the Thursday Murder Club, that's going to be coming out. These are my like mystery solving grandparents that I just love. A Land So Wild by Erin A. Craig. This is her adult horror debut that I'm really excited for because I love her YA horror. Small Favors, so good. I love that. So I'm super excited to see what she does in adult. Tusk Love is coming out. The satire book from my Critical Role babies. Like it. Just so funny. Like what a deep dive that is. So happy that's coming out. This is gonna be romantic, erotic creature romance. Anyways, I'm gonna read it. And then 2 of my thriller girlies are having books come out. So Don't Let Him In by Lisa Jewell. I love a good Lisa Jewell. She just perfection. She might be my favorite thriller author, but she's got a new one coming out. I can't even really pitch it to you because I don't care. I just know I'm gonna read it. And then Samantha Downing has a new book. Too old for this. I can pitch this one. I know it's about an elderly woman who used to kill a bunch of people, and then someone starts looking into her killings, and she's like, oh no, I have to start killing again to cover it up. It just sounds great. And the last question is books you have to read before the end of the year, and my answer to that is anything that I have left on my physical TBR. The first one is one that I am almost halfway through, and it is The Lost Art of Reading Nature's Signs. This is a nonfiction nature-y book. Return to Midnight, which is an adult thriller. Bad Summer People, I need to get to this one so fast. Like this is such a good beachy read. This is like a really soapy adult thriller is what I've heard. The Ship of Shadows is a middle grade fantasy adventure. Kiss Her Once for Me, I'll be reading this around Christmas time, but this is an adult sapphic romance. Entangled Life, which is another little nature nonfiction. And the graphic novel of The Mighty Nine Origins. This is, you know, D&D fantasy adult stuff. So yeah, that is my mid-year freakout tag. That is my little goal wrap up. Let me know one of your goals that you still really need to hit, that you're like a little stressed about, that you might not hit. We can all just kind of commiserate together down in the comments. Thank you so much for hanging out with me just today and having a coffee and a nice little chat about goals. I always enjoy these with you guys. Links to the glass switch and the odds are always down below if you'd like to support the channel or read some of my work. And the Patreon link is also down below if you want a little bit more of a writing community. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!